Hello, fellow crafters, and welcome back to your beloved show, Realm News, your place where the realm of Minecraft intersects with the real, where I, your host, the Dark Lord, the one who puts the real in realm and expands your mind one block at a time, I connect an item, block, mob, or anything Minecraft related with the real world. We combine fascinating real world facts with the grandeur of Minecraft. And today, we have another unique topic for you all. Lily pads. Yep, you heard that right. And if you have been following the show, then you would know from last week's episode over fireflies, I mentioned that it was the winner of a poll vote where you, the people, got to choose from 3 topics: lily pads, chocolate, and the winner of last week, fireflies. Lily pads received 0 votes, and that is why I chose to make an episode over it for today. I always have had a thing for the underdog. Today, I will be telling you everything that you would ever want to know about the lily pad in the real world, their biology, and real world applications. After the real section of the show, we will then transition over to the realm, where I will explain the Minecraft history and uses of them. The real and realm all come after pull time, which starts right about now. It's pull time! Welcome back to Pull Time. This is the place where it is all about the Minecraft community feedback. I have a poll that I posted before the release of the fall drop. I wanted to ask this question in the light of the copper golem, copper armor, the copper tools, and copper weapons. This is the question that I asked. Do you enjoy the new copper additions? In addition to that question, I added this. Quote, I am back yet again with a new poll question. Do you like the new copper additions announced to us by Minecraft on July 1st? We are expected to receive the beloved and much anticipated copper golem, copper armor, copper weapons, and tools. I am going to remain unbiased and not voice my opinion. Please let me know how much you enjoy the new copper additions on a scale of 1 through 5, 5 being the most liked and 1 the least liked. End quote. I must say that we had a small turnout for this poll, folks. And I do apologize, this is an older poll. This was right after the release of all this. So I've just now, some of these polls I pull out, but so it's about a month old when I'm recording this, not to date the show, but it is. But I thought it was interesting to just still see what the scale was of the time. It kind of gives a flashback and a look of a snapshot look of the sentiments of what people were feeling towards this. So anyways, it was a smaller turnout for this poll. 21 people total cast their votes. Nonetheless, we have had fewer votes on the show in the past, so this is no problem. I would like to take a moment to say thank you to those who cast their votes in this week's poll. I would like to say that the results were interesting to say the least. Allow me to read them off in order. The 1 through 5 scale, that is. 1 received 4 votes, coming in 3rd place. And sorry, it's not in order. I misread that. I'm going to just read these off going in order, as in not by by majority of votes to least. It's going in order, I should say, of 1 through 5. So 1 received 4 votes, coming in 3rd place. 2 received 1 vote. 3 received 1 vote. 4 received 7 votes, coming in 2nd place. And 5 won this poll with 8 votes altogether out of the 21 total. I won't lie, I was a bit disappointed that number 5 didn't have more votes, like 18 out of the 21. And yes, maybe I'm a bit biased because I voted for number 5, but I still thought people were going to be more amped over this than what we see here today, or from back when this was initially released. First place being the max, quote-unquote, max like number, which is 5, only won with 38% of the votes, just to put that in a different perspective. Second place, which was was the number 4 group, won with 33.33%, or exactly 1/3 of the votes. And third place, being the group that liked the copper additions the least, garnered 19% of the pie. None of these were that great of a turnout and indicate widespread sentiments. However, I am still very happy that the majority of people like the new copper additions, being the armor tools and copper golems. I'd like to now read off some comments left by some people before we move into the real segment. I would like to start with a comment left by a repeat Realm News guest, Nightsteak, who said this, quote, "Such a cool addition. I'm really glad they're doing this. Now, if they just make copper grates able to have liquid pass through them," end quote. I told him that I agree with that statement. I also asked myself if they really can't pass liquid, and so I checked on minecraft.wiki, and it says that on Java it cannot be waterlogged. I can only imagine that this parity issue does annoy crafters. Thank you so much, Nightsteak, for pointing that out. I hope the devs fix that one day. I'm sure it isn't high priority, but I can see how that would just be annoying. The next and last commenter I have is someone who goes by Juju-Petty, who says, quote, "Well, I know that I'm definitely not alone on this. Right now, the only thing they're good for is loading item sorters, which is still really great. If you put the chests 2 chests tall and then you line them up, you would need a whole lot of copper golems. I've been trying to work out the schematics on this. I watched a bunch of videos and other people are having the same issues. It takes a lot of space right now. There was an issue someone else had in a video. The little golem had a thing of redstone dust in his hand. It was standing right next to a chest that had some redstone dust in it, but it would not put the redstone dust in the chest. It just got confused and stood there. It wasn't opening any chest. It wasn't looking at them. It was just holding its little bit of redstone dust standing there and would not move. I love the concept though. I think it's the best update they've ever had. I'm definitely not complaining. I only suggested because you asked." End quote. That is interesting about the copper golem not being able to figure out where to put the redstone dust. Hopefully by the time the fall drop comes out, that bug will be resolved. Also, I must say that this is one of the better drops that they have given us, and definitely the best drop that we have received since the new drop system replaced the old update format, in my opinion. I thank you for the comment, and I hope that you provide many more on future polls. With that said, folks, that looks like the end of poll time today. I know it was a brief one, but we now know the people's sentiments towards all the copper additions we have in Minecraft. I would like to turn our focus towards the real, where we will look at lily pads. Welcome to the real segment of the show, my friends. This is the part where I link real-world knowledge with the weekly Minecraft topic. And yes, you are all well aware the show is over the lily pad. Or is it? The general over-encompassing name is actually water lily. The scientific nomenclature that describes the family of the water lily is Nymphaceae, according to Botanica.com. Such an odd-looking word, and I did look up the pronunciation to the Latin, and that is how it is pronounced, phonetically. Nevertheless, the water lily family, as I will go ahead and call it from here on out, has 60 species altogether in 4 genera, which are found in temperate and tropical climates around the world. And genera is the subclass directly under family in taxonomy. Moving along, the water lily is a great food source for aquatic life and life above water. However, it can cause drainage issues due to its rapid growth. But for most humans, we like to use them primarily for decorative purposes in water ponds and conservatories. Britannica goes on to explain their general physical attributes, which are the following. Most water lilies, which include lily pads, are round in shape, have a notch in them, and consist of a waxy leaf. The pad floats on the surface, but the plant is actually anchored down by a stalk that shoots down from the pad to the muddy surface below the water. The flowers themselves, when they grow and bloom, are also attached to long stalks that are attached to the underwater stalk. These stunning flowers, which can come in a variety of colors from pink, yellow, red, or blue as examples, are cupped in shape and have a unique petal arrangement that spirals to form said cup shape. Some of these water lily flowers open up in the morning to attract pollinators that come to feed on their quote-unquote fruit, as they call it in the article. Supposedly, the fruit tastes nut-like and berry-like. I suppose the pollinators would like to ingest something tasty like that, but I'm wondering though, who were the people that determined the taste of the lily? Some fruits from the water lilies do the opposite and ripen underwater instead of on the surface. They do this so the fruit will rot and decompose in the water in order to shed the seeds within so they can float off to propagate new areas and or sink to the bottom into that muddy surface. I should mention that all species of known water lilies are perennials, meaning that they persist all year round. There is only one species that is an annual or a short-lived perennial, and that is the Asian urial. Now that we have a very basic understanding of the biology and physical form of the water lily, I'd like to share some very intriguing information that I found in a National Geographic article titled, "What a Huge Lily Pad Can Teach Us About Building Design," written by Richard Sima and published on March 8th, 2022. If you are an architecture buff, an architect, or an architectural student, then you may find this next part I'm about to tell you about just to be fascinating. Next, I would like to talk about the Amazonian water lily, or Victoria amazonica, as it was named by British explorers in South America in 1801 and named in honor of Queen Victoria of England. The Amazonian water lily, or the Victoria amazonica, is the biggest water lily in the world and can grow up to 10 feet in diameter. Allow me to quote the article on the lily's description. Quote, "From above, the leaf of an Amazonian water lily resembles a large green dinner plate with an upturned rim." End quote. It does look unique, folks. I recommend you go join the Copper tier at patreon.com/realmnews and check out the pics I posted there. Or just Google Amazonian water lily and see for yourself. They're huge. They're huge. Their sheer size has perplexed intellectual minds since their discovery. Now, a team of French and British researchers have undertaken the task by using quote-unquote empirical experiments and mathematical modeling. The team is on a quest to find out what makes these massive leaves so strong structurally and how they maintain a rigid flexibility. I know that sounds counterintuitive, that term, rigid flexibility, but that's the goal. They believe that their research will help in better building designs and engineering. And they are not looking at the top of the leaf, but the underside of it and its intricate network of veins that act as supportive girders. The whole underbelly of the organism's leaf consists of a quote-unquote fractal network of spindly veins that stem out from the center and stretch out to the edge. These veins become thinner the closer they stretch to that edge. Another series of veins form concentric circles that intersect these lateral veins I just described to you. This forms a grid that creates the amazing rigidity and flexibility it needs to withstand birds' feet and tropical weather that would otherwise rip the leaf apart. It is this unique vascular system the Victoria amazonica has, which allows it to grow so large. And there is a reason why a plant would want to become so big. The larger the surface area of the water lily, the more photosynthesis it can undergo. This particular lily has about a 6-month lifespan due to it thriving in seasonal flood plains. So it has to absorb as much sunlight as possible. Another amazing aspect of this plant, as I have stated, is its strength. This group of scientists literally put a series of weights on the pad and measured the indentations with precision before running the data they collected through a computer. they discovered that the Victoria amazonica is magnitudes stronger than other water lily counterparts. And that is thanks again to its amazing vascular system. It's no wonder that scientists are looking for real-world applications after learning how efficient the Victoria amazonica is in its biological design, because plants have taught us humans a lot when it comes to practical applications, such as the burdock plant's burrs that inspired Velcro, or lotus leaves inspiring self-cleaning surfaces, which I had no clue about. I didn't. Heck, I don't even think I knew that there was such a thing as a self-cleaning surface, folks. The Amazon lily pad, or Victoria amazonica, began to inspire people to design structures in its likeness not long after it was discovered. The water lily, especially the Victoria amazonica, has been a plant of inspiration when it comes to architecture since pretty much the get-go. After its discovery in 1801, this plant became the symbol of the British Empire. Botanists during the Victorian era repeatedly attempted to cultivate it in Britain, this exotic plant that was found half a world away. According to a fascinating article titled "The Architectural Flower, Victoria Amazonica and the Great Exhibition," found at nicholaswells.com, says it wasn't until 1849 that British architect and gardener named Sir Joseph Paxton first cultivated the Victoria amazonica. But Paxton's passion for gardening started well before he was introduced to the Victoria amazonica. In 1840, he built a beautiful structure called the Great Conservatory. He built this beautiful glass structure for his employer, the Duke of Devonshire in England. The Great Conservatory proved to be a great success and laid the foundation for the modern greenhouse that we see today. In this greenhouse, he had built a heated soil pool in preparation for new Amazonica Victoria seeds when they arrived, which they did, and he successfully germinated them and cultivated those seeds in 1849, as I previously stated. When I'm about to mention this newspaper was released. In the London News newspaper, it had an illustration showing Paxton's daughter, Annie Paxton, standing on one of the lily pads, demonstrating its remarkable strength. Paxton was very much impressed with this himself, and being an architect, was immediately inspired by the design of the leaf's underbelly. Two great quotes taken from the aforementioned nationalgeographic.com article describes Paxton's inspiration behind the design of the infamous Crystal Palace. Quote, "Nature was the engineer. Nature has provided the leaf with longitudinal and transverse girders and supports that I, borrowing from it, have adopted in this building." End quote. The Crystal Palace was to host Great Britain's first international trade fair. The building itself, according to nicholaswells.com, was 1,815 feet in length and 128 feet tall, or nearly 13 stories tall, if that puts it in better perspective. It incorporated the Amazonica Victoria's rib-like design as seen in the, quote, cross-ribbed units of cast iron beams and pillars between the glass, end quote, used in constructing this behemoth. To give an even more impressive perspective on the size of this build, it was 3 times bigger than St. Paul's Cathedral. And I use past tense was because, unfortunately, the Crystal Palace burned down in a fire in 1936. It's too bad, really. It's quite a shame. The Crystal Palace is one example of how architecture has been inspired in the form of biomimicry, or the act of using nature's designs in human engineering and architecture. I would like to end it there with the Crystal Palace. I think it is remarkable how a plant inspired such an amazing design, and that it is continuing to be researched for its rigidity and flexibility in order to better improve future building designs and engineering. It truly is an inspiration, and I can see why the British, under Queen Victoria's reign, made it a national symbol that represented humans' mastery over nature. With that said, I would like to now move us to our final segment of the show, The Real, where we will examine the Minecraft's version of the water lily. Welcome to the realm, my friends. I hope you had a smooth transition over through the portal. As you are all well aware, we are discussing the Minecraft lily pad today. I would like to first share with you how I have personally utilized a lily pad for decor and practicality. I bring to you my empire's capital city called Seatown. A few months ago, I was revamping the buildings in the oldest section of the city. I added a couple new additions to that area for expansion. I wanted to create a more centralized wheat crop so the citizens on that side of the city would have an ample food supply. I went ahead and created a roughly 75 block long by 50 block wide wheat field with about 4 trenches full of water running parallel with the crops in order to hydrate them. This is illuminated with a granite fence trellis that hangs above the crops with iron lanterns hanging on it to provide a 24-hour light source for the crops to grow all just throughout the night. As I mentioned, I have water troughs separating the crops, and that made it a problem for my farmers to cross without getting stuck in them. So I got creative and added a biological bridge, if you will, in the form of the lily pad in several places so that the farmers can use them to cross and harvest and plant new seeds when they need to. Another very practical use I have learned from the lily pad is that you can make large platforms fast on open water with only a bucket of lava, a block like cobblestone or what have you, and a lily pad. If you place a lily pad down and then place a block on top of that lily pad, it will make that block sit 2 blocks above the surface of the water. You can then put your bucket of lava on any of the block's faces and it will pour down onto the water and create a cobblestone puck that looks more like a disc that can be replicated quickly and efficiently in order to create large cobblestone surfaces on water. I use this method to make dozens of platforms around the Ample Dieu Ocean in my world. In fact, the Gaia Divine shopping district was made entirely from this lava and lily pad method, and it is half the length of the entire capital city. It is a great way to create a platform or an entire surface on water without mining for cobblestone. Now that you have heard a couple ways that I use the lily pad, I would like to now tell you a bit of its history. Wait, one moment. I forgot one thing. A friend, apprehensive _hat 8986 messaged me, and I almost forgot to say this, but you can place a bed on a lily pad. Yes, it will hover in the air, but it's a great way that the drown can't get you. It will be suspended in the air. They won't attack you, and you can sleep there throughout the night protected. So just put that in your cap and or pin that to the wall and use that for later. I had no idea that we could put beds down on lily pads, so I thought that was really neat. Anyways, just want to throw that in there real quick before I forgot to say so. Now that you have heard a couple ways that I use the lily pad, I would like to now tell you a bit about its history. On patreon.com/realm news, I posted a simple comparison between the oldest lily pad put in the game to the newest design lily pad. There's a stark difference in color and design. You probably picture in your head a green lily pad with a notch cut out of it. Well, that is what the current day Minecraft lily pad looks like. The original lily pad was a pure gray color, which to me is quite odd. It almost looked dead. The original lily pad was introduced to us in Minecraft Java Edition 1.0.0, Beta 1.9, pre-release on September 22nd, 2011. At this time in history, the lily pad was the shortest item in the game, only standing at 1/64th of a block tall. Now it is 3/32 of a block tall. Besides that, the history of the lily pad is rather boring. It just is. It has only had the texture slightly tweaked over the years, and not much else to report on has been done with it, besides, I think, some compost changes, like how it raises the level. Besides that, not worth mentioning. But I would like to tell you where you can get these and what you can do with them. Minecraft.wiki says, quote, lily pads can be found naturally on water in swamps, mangrove swamps, and wheat farm rooms of woodland mansions, end quote. I have several swamp and mangrove swamp biomes in my realm, so I have access to all the lily pads that I could ever want. However, my quest to find a woodland mansion is still ongoing, and I cannot vouch for the woodland mansions, but I am sure the wiki is accurate. Once you find them, they are easy to break. You can either run into them in a boat and break them and pick them up, or you can use your bare hands to get them. If you do not want to go find them in these locations, then you have the opportunity to acquire lily pads from wandering traders. Obviously, I can't talk today. If you happen to find a wandering trader who trades lily pads, then you will be able to trade 1 emerald for 5 lily pads. Not a bad trade if you ask me. If you want to save your emeralds and still do not want to hunt them down in swamps or mangrove swamp biomes, then you have one other alternative. That is fishing. If you go fishing, you have a very slight chance of pulling up a lily pad. In fact, you have a 1.9% chance of pulling one up on the end of your line. Now, let's talk about how you can place these biological stepping stones. Lily pads can only be placed on top of water, ice, or frosted ice blocks. Lily pads occupy the block above water and are not part of the water block, which is why if you attempt to place a block or like a bed on one, it will hover in the air 1 block above the lily pad. Lily pads face a consistent direction based on their location, unaffected by player orientation. I hope that helps in how you interact with them. I know some technical players appreciate these small details that I report. I should mention before concluding the show that the lily pad has another functional purpose for the player. Like much of Minecraft's plant life, it could be used as compost. I kind of already mentioned that, but in fact, it is a great source for composting. 1 lily pad added to a composter has a 65% chance of raising it by 1 level. Pretty good odds. So, start throwing your lily pads into your composter, folks, if that is what you are into. With that said, that wraps up this week's show over lily pads. My friends, who would have known that the lily pad was such a prolific organism in the real world and in the game of Minecraft? While I was doing the research in the real world, I was absolutely stunned by how big the Victoria Amazonica gets. It makes perfect sense to me now why scientists are attempting to better understand the physical properties behind it. I really liked how Sir Joseph Paxton was the first person in England to cultivate the plant and was inspired by its design and used that to create the once world-renowned Crystal Palace, which was once the biggest structure on Earth. And the reason why he's called Sir, why he got that title, Sir, is because of that Crystal Palace. On top of the real-world applications of the water lily, I was interested in learning that the lily pad is a great source of compost in Minecraft. I will have to start to use those to create bone meal when I need it. Please write into one of the many links at bio.link/realmnews and let me know how you use the lily pad. I hope you all enjoyed this week's edition of Realm News on lily pads. I wish you all a great rest of your day, week, and I look forward to putting the real in realm and expanding your mind 1 block at a time once more next week. Happy crafting to you all, and thank you for tuning in. The Dark Lord, signing out. Hey, Realm News fans, it's your host, The Dark Lord, the one who puts the real in realm and expands your mind 1 block at a time. I am here to tell you that your support means everything. Spread the word by telling friends, liking, and commenting on Spotify or Good Pods. Find me on X, Blue Sky, Reddit, or via email at bio.link/realmnews. For more content, join my Patreon at the Copper, Diamond, and VIP tiers for early episodes, bonus content, and newsletters. Find out more at bio.link/realmnews. No pressure, though. Just keep listening, liking, and sharing. That's more than enough. happy crafting, and see you at the next Realm News.